Good evening, friends and family, and all who have gathered in shared sorrow and shared love. My name is John Vandal, and I am a friend of the extended family and will be guiding our time together to celebrate the lives of Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker. The world has heard about the tragic death of these three young sisters. The headlines have told part of the story, a story marked by shock and pain. And while the world may know how their life ended, tonight we are here to remember how their lives were lived. Tonight we choose to tell a different story, one not defined by tragedy, but by love, laughter, kindness, and light. I had the privilege of sitting in the living room with Whitney and her family last week, and I told them I would only stay for 90 minutes, and after nearly 3 hours of hearing the family tell stories of the girls, I wiped the tears from my eyes, and I left that meeting with a deep love and respect for this family and an inspiring admiration of Payton, Evie, and Olivia. I wish you could have been there with me, but I hope what happened in my heart that day will happen in your hearts tonight. As we journey through the story of Payton, Evan, and Olivia, we will cry together, laugh together, and likely take inventory of our own lives. Listen closely to their stories, as each of the girls are unique, and each has something to say to us. And finally, we are also here tonight to bear witness to something just as powerful as their light, your response. This community, all of you, have been a beacon in the darkest night. Through your acts of generosity and your prayers, your presence, and your love, our first responders, search and rescue, and tireless efforts of law enforcement, you have reminded us all, even in the shadow of something unthinkable, that the light still shines. I believe in a tragic time like this, that theology should take a back seat so that we can simply weep with those who weep. I know in a crowd this size there are many different beliefs represented here, and we respect that. And at the same time, if you are comfortable, I would invite you to join me in a simple prayer. God, I pray that you would speak to our hearts through the lives of Payton, Evelyn, and Olivia. May you use the light of their lives to help us see more clearly as we find ourselves tonight in the shadow of sorrow. We don't understand, our hearts ache, and we need each other tonight, and we need you. Amen. Well, every life is a story worth telling. And tonight we are going to begin with Payton. Tyler will come now. Tyler is a member of the community and has been played a significant role in this family's life. So Tyler, if you'd come.
Try to get my papers not blow away. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tyler Charlo, and for the past 2 years, I've had the absolute privilege of knowing Payton, Evelyn, and Olivia. First as the site coordinator for the YMCA's after-school program, and later as a substitute teacher for each of their classrooms at Lincoln Elementary. I cared for them, spent time with them, laughed with them, learned from them, and watched them grow into the kind, joyful, and spirited young girls we're here to honor today. Many of you know me, and for those of you who don't, all you need to know is that these three girls made a lasting impact on my life, just as they did on so many of yours. I stand here today not as a speaker, but simply someone who loved them, someone who was lucky to share in their world, even for a short time. Each of them brought something special into the lives they touched. They were sisters, teammates, and best friends. They lifted each other up, made each other laugh, and filled their world with love. Tonight, my role is to speak about Payton and the way she made life brighter for everyone around her. And while we carry the love for all three girls in our hearts, I want to take some time to share the memories and moments that made Payton so wonderfully unforgettable. There are some people who step into your life and without even trying, change it forever. They don't do it through big, grand gestures or loud statements, but simply by being themselves. By showing up every day with kindness, joy, and with determination. Payton was one of those people. She had a way of making others feel included, making sure no one was left behind, not because she had to, but because it was simply who she was. Like when her friend Riley first came to Lincoln, Payton made sure she was the first person to introduce herself, show her around, and make sure she felt welcomed. Payton understood fairness. She understood how things should be, and she carried herself with a kind of natural leadership that made people want to follow her. Not because she demanded it, but because she inspired it. She was strong, determined, and deeply curious about the world. She asked big questions and small ones, and the kind that made you stop and think. She wanted to understand things, to make sense of them, to never just accept something without knowing why. And that curiosity stretched into everything she did, whether it was school, friendships, sports, or even our consistent debates about whether ketchup or mustard was a better condiment. And of course, I was wrong, according to her. When it came to sports, she wasn't just good, she worked for it. She had the confidence of an athlete, but she never relied on talent alone. She practiced, asked questions, adjusted, and improved. But because effort mattered to her, whether it was basketball, soccer, track, or anything else she was involved in, she wanted to master it. The mornings at Y-Care weren't always about practicing her skills. Sometimes she was just playing, running and dribbling through the crowd, laughing and having fun. And right in the middle of it, she'd turn to me and say, "Ty, show me how to dribble it the cool way." And when she got it right, she made sure I noticed. She played fast, strong, smart, and no matter how hard I tried to keep up with her in soccer, she always let me know she had the upper hand. But not in a bragging way, but in a playful, teasing way that made every moment fun. Payton knew how to work, she knew how to play, and most of all, she knew how to have fun. But for Payton, it was her kindness and her sensitivity that truly defined her. She was thoughtful in a way that went beyond words. She saw people. She understood them, and when she cared deeply. When I lost my grandfather, most of the kids asked me if I was sad, if I cried. But Payton waited, thought about it, and instead of asking me those questions, he quietly asked me, "Ty, what was your favorite thing to do with your grandpa?" Because she understood. Grief isn't just about sadness. It's about love. It's about holding on to the things that mattered most. She had this ability to turn even the smallest moments into something unforgettable. Her smile and laughter filled spaces and lit up rooms, and her presence made things feel warmer, better, and happier. And when Payton had an opinion, she stuck to it. She had her signature squinted eye, half-mouth open stare whenever I said something she did not find amusing. And her quick wit was something truly unmatched, which showed true the time I became confused on how to help her with her homework. She looked at me and said, "You went to college, aren't you supposed to know how to do this?" Or when I shaved into a mustache and all she said was, "Yeah, you should really grow your beard back." And most of the time I would respond with, "Hey, Pate, you must get your sassiness from your mom." And all I would hear back was, "Well, duh." She was clever. She knew exactly how to talk me into things, flashing her sweet, innocent smile whenever she wanted something she knew she wasn't supposed to have. And when I left for a week on vacation, she didn't ask me how my trip was. She simply said, "Thank God you're back. You're not allowed to leave again." Because that was Payton. Beneath the teasing, the playful persuasion, the clever little tricks, was love. Fierce, wholehearted, unwavering love. She loved her sisters, her mom, her family, and her friends. She poured herself into the memories she made, the trips she took, and the adventures she planned. The simple, beautiful moments spent with the people who meant most to her. That kind of love doesn't fade. It stays. It stays in everything she touched, and every challenge embraced with her same fearless spirit, and every act of kindness sparked by the way she lived. We honor her today, but the truth is, we've been honoring her all along. In the way she made people smile, in the way that she made people feel like they belonged, and in the way she carried love so effortlessly, so fully, in everything she did. And that doesn't leave us. It never will. So, if there's anything we can carry forward from Payton's life, let it be this: to stand up with courage, to lift others with kindness, to find the joy in the smallest moments, and to love without hesitation, just as she did. She showed us that fairness isn't just a rule, it's a choice. That laughter isn't something we share, it's something that brings us together. And that love isn't measured in time, it's measured in the way it stays, in the way it lingers, in the way it shapes us long after someone is gone. That's how we keep Payton with us, not just in memory, but in action. In the way we live, and the way we carry her forward every single day.
Thank you, Tyler. A few memories that stood out to me from my time with the family about Payton is Payton was so generous with her hugs. Grandma Rhonda said that Payton would wrap her arms around you and she would look up at you with those big brown eyes and she could just see straight into your soul. Payton still loved to hold her mom's hand in public. A lot of 9-year-olds have given that up. Payton always found something positive to say to friends and strangers to encourage them. One woman who had come into, I don't remember where it was, but one woman came into a room where her mom and she were, and she was wearing all kinds of religious garb, and Payton said, she looked at her and she said, "Wow," she said, "I really like your outfit. It is so beautiful." And then when they walked out of the room, she looked at her mom and she said, "I decided not to call it a costume because I thought that would be rude." Payton was very aware of people's feelings and people's needs. Uncle Kevin and Aunt Aggie, by the way, Aunt Aggie is also Whitney's sister Alex, but nobody could say Alex, so they call her Aggie. So just in case you're wondering who that is. But they visited this past Easter weekend and got to see all 3 girls play soccer. And Aunt Aggie said that you could see all 3 girls' personalities expressed on the soccer field. Payton was a leader. She was a top scorer on her team. Evie moved across the field quite gracefully, quick and nimble like a dancer, but could also be aggressive and scrappy when needed. And Olivia was just happy to be on the field. And if you said anything to Olivia while she was playing soccer, even if it was in the middle of a play, she would stop and she would wave at the family. All 3 girls supported each other, and Payton was their biggest cheerleader. There's a photo of Evelyn and Olivia receiving an award, and Payton is off to the side featuring her sister, so proud of them. She loved to celebrate other people. At this time, Andrea is going to come, and Andrea is from Fabulous Feet, and which was a very important organization to all the girls, but especially to Evie, and she'll be talking to us a little bit more about Evie.
Good evening. So as John said, I am one of the teachers at Fabulous Feet, where Evelyn was on the competition team and Olivia also took class. But I'm also connected to the family in other ways. I first met Payton, Evelyn and Olivia, and Whitney during Short Shakespeareans 3 years ago, I think we decided. Whitney and I instantly bonded. We both have 3 girls, and they're all lovely and wonderful and multiple personalities. And we also drive the same car. So we had a lot of fun with that, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not, where we'd park next to each other. And I don't know how many times the girls tried to get in the wrong mom's car. And it wouldn't have mattered. We just would have taken him home. It's fine. But that was part of our fun. I started talking without looking at my notes, so now I have to figure out where I am in my notes. I've spent a lot of time in the last few weeks looking through pictures, trying to have memories and remember those happy times. I've seen a lot of pictures of my girls with Payton, Evelyn, and Olivia. I'm sure we've all been looking through a lot of pictures, but one of the things that always stood out to me about Evelyn was the smile on her face. Sometimes that smile was hidden behind Brown Bear. He went everywhere with her. I heard he has a backpack now. Is that right, Tai Tai? He has a backpack? Okay. But Brown Bear went with Evie. Brown Bear was her comfort, but once she'd get comfortable, he could sit to the side. And it would take her a few minutes, but then she would just shine bright, and she would have so much energy and so much spunk and kind of nudge the others along, whether it was her sisters or my girls, and say, come on, we're gonna go do it. We impulsively took a day trip to Leavenworth in October and just rode the Alpen coaster and just wandered around and went and got pretzels. I have this picture of Evelyn with this pretzel that's like this big. She liked snacks. We'll come back to that. And just the joy that she had with the Alpenhorn and placing their hands and feeling the music and the wonder on her face. And then the girls found a pile of leaves and went and scooped them up. And I have this picture of them throwing the leaves in the air with big grins on their face. I'm so grateful that I have that memory. It was such a simple thing, but such a wonderful day. See, I lost my notes again. Evie was silly, sometimes quietly silly, but sometimes not so quietly silly. I went around asking some of her dance friends and some of the other dance teachers for stories, because I was having a hard time coming up with some on my own of specific stories. And her sweet friend Lilia told me this story about backstage at competition this spring. They started doing cartwheels, and they just kept doing cartwheels and doing more cartwheels and more and more and more until they got so dizzy they just fell down laughing. And that was very much Evie. Just would commit to something until she couldn't do it anymore. And then she could gather herself up and go on stage and be the star that she was. I've also been told that Evie loves lipstick. So along with being silly, they were running around during the Spring Showcase Ballet Show. And Trisha said, "Stop running." Evelyn looked at her and goes, "I'm not running, I'm skipping." And then she came over to me and said, "I need more lipstick." And I said, "No, you don't. Go eat your dinner. We'll give you more lipstick later." She'd show up at dance class with her lipstick and just be so excited to have her lipstick on. She was a great friend. She was a friend to everybody. She was nice to everybody. But much like Payton, not because she should be, but because she really cared. She also gave fantastic hugs. She would come in to my class on Wednesdays, give me a big hug, and then say, "What snacks do you have? I'm hungry." So I started packing extra snacks on my long Wednesday day at the studio because I knew Evie would be hungry. Like I said, she was sometimes quiet, but she was very confident behind her quietness. Recently, I've also been told a story that they were working on getting their double turns in their jazz class, and she was one of the first ones in her class to get it. But she didn't boast about it. She didn't say, "Look what I can do." She kept working hard on them for herself and encouraged others. But that doesn't go unnoticed, right? We see that confidence and we see the hard work that comes with that. There are a lot of words to describe Evie. She was kind. She was a dancer. She was an athlete. She was an actor, and so much more. The word I use to describe Evie is a star. She was a star wherever she went. I'm so honored and proud and humbled that I got to live in her light. And I just hope that we all can continue to spread her light and she can shine through us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Evie wasn't one to pretend to be something she didn't want to be. If she was uncomfortable, she was not going to pretend in front of you that she wasn't uncomfortable, that she wasn't. If something was beyond her boundary, she wasn't going to compromise that to please people. She had a strength that many people don't find until much later in their life. Maybe that was the secret of the brown bear. Evie was, as was mentioned, is a happy little girl with a smile on her face. All the girls had different ways of showing love, but they did it differently. Payton would show you her love with words and with hugs and with very outward about it, and Evie could show you her love with silence. Evie could sit next to you and she didn't have to speak. She just wanted to be with you. Evie loved to give thoughtful gifts. She enjoyed making appetizers. She had a love for appetizers. With her grandma, she would make them often, and she loved to serve. She'd often make a card for her mom just on an ordinary day. "To Mom, love Evelyn. I love you. You're the best mom in the whole world. Thank you for being my mom." Abby recently bought her grandma, Rhonda, a fish necklace, and she used her own money. She's wearing it tonight. She used her own birthday money. She was not supposed to be shopping for herself, but instead came back with a gift for Grandma. And when Evie showed up with Girl Scout cookies for a family event, she even remembered to get a gluten-free carton of Girl Scout cookies for her gluten-intolerant family members. She was just very intentional for a young little girl about remembering you. Evie also had a good sense of humor and knew when she called her grandma Granny that she would get her grandmother's full attention, because that was not Grandma Rhonda's favorite title. Because Evie didn't always give out hugs, like Payton. When she did, it made them a little extra special. And Grandma Rhonda said that she could wrap you up as tight as she could, and it was the best. Whitney joked and said, "I think she may have wanted something from you when she hugged you like that, Mom." And Grandma Rhonda said, "I don't care, it worked." Grandma Rhonda also had special date nights with the girls on Thursdays and said she just misses them and their energy so much in her home. In just a moment, Sophie is going to come and dance for us in the Fabulous Feet program, which is the program that Evelyn was so important to Evie. The older girls would often write little notes of encouragement to the younger performers on a performance day, and that was one of the roles that Sophie played, as she's now a high school student and has been part of this program for a very long time. So she will come now and perform for us. Our next speaker is Paityn. Paityn is the girl's grandfather. And Paityn wasn't quite ready to be called grandpa yet. So he thought long and hard about an alternative name and came up with Popeye. For whatever reason, though, the girls found it difficult to say Popeye. So he became affectionately known as Paityn. This man has been a rock, he has been a provider and a protector, and is loved by his grandkids and his family. So Paityn, would you come? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight to honor the memory of my beautiful granddaughters, Payton, Evelyn, and Olivia, and to support my daughter, Whitney, and our family through this really incredibly difficult time. We're deeply grateful for the love and the prayers and the support we've received from this community, but from around our nation and around the world. Your kindness is a powerful reminder of the infinite goodness that exists in this world today. And as I stand here tonight, sharing about Olivia is really a struggle for me. How do I put into words for you what she meant to me? She was only 5 years old. But the impact she had on my life is beyond anything I could have imagined. My heart is still processing the grief, the sorrow, and the loss of the blonde-haired whirlwind, this beautiful, loving, Category 5 hurricane that was Olivia. Payton, Evelyn, and Olivia, they called me Paityn. And that name will echo forever in my heart. Olivia, she's the youngest of the 3 girls, but she quickly found her place in the family. And that's not always easy for the youngest, but Olivia had a way of carving her own space with ease. And I credit her mom, Whitney, for giving her a unique love and the attention that she needed, while Payton and Evelyn were loving older sisters. I'll never forget this Easter when Olivia looked at Evelyn and said, "I love that you play with me when you're busy or you don't want to." And I have watched so many times as her older sisters patiently explained the movies, read books to her, or helped her with her letters and her numbers. Olivia was determined to learn, and she was always eager to join our family in the family card games, especially Uno. And she was tough, competitive, and she would love putting down a skip, a draw two, or a reverse card, and then she'd just give you this smirk and a proud laugh that made it impossible not to laugh. But she did not want to just watch her sisters. She wanted to do everything they did, from jumping off the diving board at my sister's and brother-in-law's house. She'd give us the pre-dive briefing, including the essential holding her nose. I said, "Why are you holding your nose? It's not going to fall off." And she'd go, "Paityn, I get water in my nose." I'm like, "Okay." And then she'd jump off the board, come popping up on the surface to learn her score from the family judges. And as my sister said earlier tonight, we didn't give the girls 10s. We gave them 6s, 7s, 5.4s, because we wanted to. And there's a video, and the video is it's the other sister, but this just kind of tells you about them. And we're videoing, and I'm in the video, and I'm saying, "Payton, attempt number 11. But that's the way the girls were, and Olivia was just fearless. She would ask her grandma to help practice the cartwheels, the bridges, the splits, and the front rolls in our living room, the hallway, and on the lawns. and she would stretch with the other girls in our living room, practicing for the limbo at school. I remember how happy she was to join when she joined the Shakespeareans and the dance classes at Fabulous Feet Studio. And Olivia, being the youngest, was the baby of the family. And she made sure everyone knew it. I would often, many times, give Olivia my best eye rolls when she would ask to be carried. And even though she was not a lightweight, so I would tease her and then instead would ask her for a piggyback ride, which would turn into a game of me chasing her around the dining room table, circling it, and I was ready to pounce. Or I was trying to jump over a couch and just try to get over that couch. It's a big barrier for me at this age, so it wasn't always lucky. But Olivia, she also loved school. Well, most of it. She did not like the early mornings, but she absolutely loved being with her sisters during the day. And this year, she was in kindergarten, and she just blossomed. I heard she made a really kind impression on her classmates and teachers alike. And Olivia was enthusiastic about learning, especially reading, and she had a very inquisitive mind. One of my fondest memories was when she told me how much she loved the monkey bars at recess. I decided, okay, we need a race on them. And I quickly learned at my age, stretching before attempting on the monkey bars is highly recommended for you. Olivia made it look so easy as she just swung from bar to bar, or ring to ring, I should say. At our house, Olivia was a burst of energy. She would yell my name even if I was only a few feet away, daring me to come get her. She would shout, giggle, and ask for my attention, and I would tease her saying, "I'm going to get you if you don't stop yelling." And she would just cock her head, flash that grin, adjust her feet a little bit, give me that daring look, and then she would just say, "Try it." Now, watching her soccer games drove me crazy. Olivia was not really quite sure of the game at first, and she had a tendency to stop and smile at her mom when she was supposed to be running. And I just remember shaking my head at Whitney, and Whitney would yell, "Go, Olivia!" And Olivia would just pause right on the field, and the ball would go right past her. And I would say to Whitney, "Would you stop yelling her name? She cannot focus when you're cheering on her like that." Because in my mind, I'm thinking National Women's Soccer League. But deep down, I knew Olivia loved best about soccer was truly the camaraderie, her teammates, her coaches, and of course that parent-family tunnel and the after-game snacks. Olivia was a teacher to me. She taught me about kindness. We often talked about how a simple smile, a kind word, and just a thoughtful action could change someone's day. Olivia lived by this lesson, and she was always so kind to everyone she met, and the kindness will live in our hearts of those who knew her. When the girls stayed with us overnight at our house, I'd wake them up, set up their breakfast, and we tried to get out the door to school on time. And many times, with Olivia, she would be leading us in what we have, a tradition, a group smile session to start off the day. We'd have Hawaiian music being played by Iz, especially the song Over the Rainbow. And it would play in the background during breakfast. And we'd all smile 5 times together to release those endorphins and immediately find happiness for the day. When Olivia led us in the exercises, she was really tough on us. She'd just keep an eye on her 2 sisters and me, making sure we all smiled together. And some of my favorite memories were the moments just as Whitney and the girls were pulling away from our house in the van, and I would shout, "Boys rule, girls drool." And sometimes I'd toss a snowball at Whitney's van, maybe a water balloon, hoping that van door was open, or Nerf ball, just for that extra emphasis. And then the van would slow down, the window would roll down, 3 little heads would pop out, shouting back in unison, "Girls rule, boys drool." And if Whitney did not slow down the van, I could count on a phone call seconds later with all of them yelling on the phone together, girls rule, boys drool." Thank you, Olivia, for all the love, the laughter, and the joy you brought into our lives. You have filled my heart with happiness, and I will carry Olivia in my heart for the rest of my days. I love you, sweet girl.
Thank you, Pai. Kids love spending the night at Graham and Pai's house. And so the song you're about to hear, as Pai just mentioned, was on the breakfast hour regular playlist. And it will be sung by Amy Edwards, who taught the girls music for the short Shakespearean production, and also has a daughter on the same dance team as Evie. So Amy, would you please come?
Birds fly over the rainbow. Why, oh why can't I
Before Whitney comes to speak, I wanted to share just a few memories that Whitney shared with me. Is that okay? Whitney said after her divorce, one of her favorite times with her girls was taking an annual trip in January with them. Each January, she'd take one of the girls on a trip, just she and them, to a location of their choice. The first trip was with Evie, and Evie chose to go to Paris and London. That girl's got taste. The following January, she took Payton to Disney World and paired that with a cruise. Whitney had a trip to Disneyland planned for she and Olivia to enjoy this upcoming January, and Evie was planning to go to Tokyo the following January. I admire the intentionality of Whitney with her girls. Whitney said, I recently fell asleep with Payton in her bed on accident. It was the last Wednesday night the girls were at home with me. And Payton asked, Mom, will you lay with me? Will you lay with me? Whitney said, because there are 3 of them, oftentimes by the end of the day, I just need a little bit of downtime to kind of collect myself. But that night, Whitney laid down next to Payton, and Payton snuggled close to her mom. And Whitney said, Payton is not exactly a small 9-year-old child, but somehow she can become one with you. Whitney ended up falling asleep and slept with her daughter unregretfully all night long. Another thing that was going on in Payton's life is she had just tried out for FC soccer, and she had made the team. Payton was really stressed out about it, and she and her mom were in the Winco parking lot, and Payton said, Mom, I don't think I want to do it anymore. And Whitney, being the loving mother that she is, she said, well, can you tell me when your feelings changed? Payton said, well, we were having soccer practice, and the coach told me that I was offsides. And Whitney said, and what about that was uncomfortable for you? Payton said, I don't even know what offsides is. And so here's this 80-pound giant girl sitting in her mother's lap in the car crying as they're flipping through ChatGPT trying to figure out what offsides means. Once Payton figured out what offsides was, she decided to play soccer and immediately discovered how the defense could actually use offsides to their advantage. Payton loved to learn. Whitney also remembered that towards the end of May, Evie wanted to write 5 notes to her teacher. Each was with something that she loved about her teacher who was retiring. And every day, her teacher would open something in the last week of her job at the school. Whitney and Evie had laid in bed together, and she got them all written out, and Evie was very happy when she went to bed. And the next morning, and Evie really wasn't a morning person, so I've gathered. But Whitney went to wake up Evie after that wonderful evening they'd had at 5:30 in the morning, and Evie just opened up her arms and wrapped her mom up in one of those amazing hugs that Evie could give. And Whitney said, you know, in all of my time with Evie, I don't think she's ever woken up and given me a hug like that, ever before. Whitney also said this year Evie received numerous awards at school and had been taking gifts to a teacher. I'm not sure if it was related to that throughout the year. But after a conversation with Evie's teacher, Whitney learned that Evie had actually been giving away items from their house to the teacher. And Whitney laughed and she was like, well, yeah, they're from my house, all right, but I guess we didn't need them because I didn't even know they were gone. Evie loved to give gifts. And Olivia was happiest when she was attached to her mother. She just loved Whitney so much. When the other girls were upset, they would go and hide in their room. But when Olivia was upset, she would come and she would find her mom for comfort. Whitney was Olivia's safe space, and so that also became a comfort to Whitney. And since Olivia began attending school, Whitney said she could see Olivia becoming her own person, but for Whitney, Olivia was her brown bear, always there and always along for the ride. There are no words that can describe the weight of a mother's grief, but Whitney has a love that still finds its voice through heartbreak. And so Whitney will come and share now, not because it is easy, but because her love for Payton, Evie, and Olivia is stronger than anything this world could ever take away from her. Would you greet Whitney?
I just have a short something to share. Good evening, and thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. You all look beautiful, and I know that Evie would have loved to ooh and ah over all of your outfits. She would have been amazed by all the color out there and just thought you guys look fantastic. You know that Payton would have sought each and every one of you out to try to find something to give you a compliment for. She did that for everyone, whether it was in the grocery store or at school or with me, always telling me, "Oh, you look so beautiful, Mom. I love your earrings," or whatever it was that she could find. I wanted to share a means of connection the girls and I had that I think allowed them to have such warm and open hearts to the community around them. After my divorce, there were a lot of feelings flowing through my house. As you could imagine, me going through a divorce with 3 small, tiny women. Some of the feelings were easier to talk about than others. Through the girls' time with Children's Home Society and some incredible therapists, we discovered the 3 feelings. At night, during their bedtime routine, I would ask them what 3 feelings they felt during that day. No feeling too big or too small, and what was going on when they felt those feelings. For Payton, she always had more than 3, consistently eager to tell me about every minute of her day. She was always interrupting her sisters to make sure I knew every single one. For Ev, we would talk about her feelings one-on-one, right at bedtime, because she wasn't always ready to share them with her sisters. And for Olivia, we were still working on how to describe all of her feelings, but beyond a shadow of a doubt, one was always happy. Even when I tried to avoid telling my feelings, which is so easy to do as an adult, I feel like, the girls, one of them would always say, "Wait, Mom, you didn't tell me what yours were," and make sure that I too would tell them what my 3 feelings were. I'm so thankful for the time that I had with the girls, and how the 3 feelings allowed us to connect when the world slowed down. And it really gave me an inside look into their day. I believe doing this with them allowed them to come into the world with open hearts and kindness. I hope that you are all able to do some version of the 3 feelings with your loved ones. Thank you everyone for being here tonight and the outpouring of love that you have shown me and my family over the past few weeks. I truly hope that the legacy of the girls' lives lives in everyone's heart forever. They were incredible.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Whitney. Paityn, Evie, and Olivia lived with a kind of brightness that is hard to describe but is impossible to forget. Whether laughing until their belly hurt, hugging with arms that somehow made you feel completely safe, and offering up the purest acts of kindness in the smallest ways, they were love, uncomplicated and true. Though their time was short, their impact is vast, and we know that because you are here. Look around you. This is what love looks like. This is what light can do. In the days since we lost Paityn, Evie, and Olivia, something extraordinary has happened. In the face of tragedy, this community rose up, not with anger, but with compassion. Meals were brought, hands were held, stories were told, tears were shared, money was raised, vigils were held, and we became a living testimony to the legacy of the girls. We're going to watch a slideshow and begin our candlelighting ceremony as best we can with the wind. Grandma Rhonda and Aunt Aggie will begin the lighting, and each one of you will help light the candles around you. Are we using real candles or battery candles? Are we going for real? Okay. So, would you please tilt the unlit candle toward the lit candle in just a moment as you share your light to avoid a bunch of wax all over the place? As we light our candles, I would like to draw your attention to the significance of that. We are committing to never forget. We are going to carry forward the love that Payton and Evie and Olivia gave so freely. Let your candle remind you that the girls' lives were not extinguished, they were multiplied. Their light shines on through every act of love, every moment of courage, every time someone chooses kindness instead of cruelty. It would be easy to believe that darkness has the final say in the world, but today we reject that. We believe with everything that we have that light is stronger than darkness, that love is louder than hate, and that goodness endures, and that the brightness of these three small lives from Wenatchee, Washington, Payton, Evelyn, and Olivia, will set millions of hearts on fire. So let us enjoy a candle lighting ceremony and a slideshow together.
There I was again tonight, forcing laughter, faking smiles, same old tired, lonely place. Walls of insincerity, shifting eyes and vacancy, vanished when I saw your face. All I can say is it was enchanting to meet you. Your eyes whispered, have we met? Across the room, your silhouette starts to make its way to me. The playful conversation starts, counter all your quick remarks like passing notes in secrecy. And it was enchanting to meet you. All I can say is I was enchanted to meet you. This night is sparkling.
Yeah, spin around.
This moment in the back of my mind, the time we stood with our shaking hands, the crowds in stands went wild. We were the kings and the queens, and they read off our names. The night you danced like you knew our lives would never be the same. You held your head like a hero on a history book page. It was the end of a decade, but the start of an age. Long live the walls we crashed through, all the candlelight shine just for me and you. I was screaming, long live all the magic we made, and bring on all the pretenders. One day we will be remembered. I said, remember this feeling. I passed the pictures around of all the years that we stood there on the sidelines, wishing for right now. We are the kings and the queens. You trade your baseball cap for a crown. When they gave us our trophies, and we held them up for our town. And the cynics were outraged, screaming, this is absurd. 'Cause for a moment a band of thieves in ripped up jeans got to rule the world. that you'll stand by me forever. But if God forbid fate should step in and force us into a goodbye, if you have children someday, when they point to the pictures, please tell them my name. Tell them how the crowds were wild. Tell them how I hope they shine. Long live the walls we crashed through. I had the time of my life with you. Long live the walls we crashed through. Now the candlelight shine just for me and you. And I was screaming, long live all the magic we made, and bring on all the pretenders. I'm not afraid, singing long live all the mountains we moved. I had the time of my life, fighting dragons with you. And long live on your face, and bring on all the pretenders. One day we will be remembered.
Would you stand with me? Let us live in a way that honors the light of love, and let us be the warmth in the cold. Let us be the love in the silence. Let us be the light that shines in the darkness and declares once and for all that darkness will not win. Payton, Evelyn, and Olivia, you will not be forgotten. We will not forget. Thank you for being here. It means so much to the family. We need one another. God bless you. That is the conclusion of our time together. Amy, remind me what I'm supposed to tell people. You can make your way back to your bus if you rode a bus here, and it